A poor girl was cut from the guest list until the CEO arrived and said, "She's my wife." Hello, everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us go back to our main character. Cold wind swept across the marble entrance of the Wilmington Grand Hotel, the kind of place where spotlights washed over glass doors and every guest looked as if they belonged to a different world. The red carpet shimmered under the evening lights, but Lily Carter stood just outside it, clutching the thin strap of her second-hand dress as if it might hold her together. She was nervous, but she had a reason to be here. She had promised the chief executive officer she would show up for the company's annual charity gala, the first event required in their contract marriage. She had memorized every rule he had given her. Walk with confidence, smile with restraint, do not speak unless spoken to, and most importantly, do not draw attention. She tried to breathe, stepping toward the entrance, but the security guard lifted a hand towards her. "Excuse me, ma'am. Name?" "Lily Carter," she said, voice soft but steady. The guard scrolled down the tablet, his expression tightening. "You are not on the list." Lily blinked. "There must be a mistake. I am supposed to be here. Mom, please step aside. You are blocking other guests." Heads turned, whispering began behind manicured hands and polished shoes. A pair of women in evening gowns exchanged glances that cut sharper than glass. Did she really think she could get in? Look at her dress. She is definitely not invited. Lily felt her throat close. She took a step back, humiliation spreading hot beneath her skin. She wanted to explain that she had followed every instruction, that she had the right to be here, that she was not trying to sneak into a world she did not belong to. But the guard's posture was firm, and the crowd's eyes were heavy. "Mom, I am going to have to ask you to move away from the entrance." Her fingers trembled. She swallowed hard, fighting the instinct to run. Then the atmosphere shifted. The doors of the hotel opened again, and a tall figure stepped into the light. His presence alone silenced the walkway. Noah Whitmore, Chief Executive Officer of Whitmore Industries, walked forward with the effortless authority of a man who ran entire cities with a signature. His charcoal suit was crisp, his expression carved from ice, and the board members behind him followed at a respectful distance. When he saw Lily, his steps stopped. The guard straightened immediately. "Mr. Whitmore, sir, we had an unregistered guest attempting to enter." Noah raised one hand, and the guard froze mid-sentence. His eyes shifted to Lily. For a split second, something softened in his expression, so quick that no one could be sure they actually saw it. Then he spoke, voice low, controlled, and resonant enough to silence the entire entrance. "She is not an unregistered guest," he said. "She is my wife." Gasps rippled across the line of guests. Cameras clicked. Someone muttered, "Wife? Since when?" Noah stepped closer, offering his arm with a confidence that made every spectator reevaluate the girl they had mocked seconds earlier. "Lily," he said quietly, "come with me." She hesitated, still stunned. This was supposed to be pretend, a contract, appearances only. But the look in his eyes tonight carried something different, something protective, something dangerous, something real. As she placed her hand in his, the whispers around them shifted. No longer ridicule, now curiosity, now confusion, now respect. Noah guided her past the guard without looking back. The guard lowered his head in apology. Inside, the chandeliers glowed like 1,000 stars, but Lily barely noticed. Her heart pounded in her chest, her mind racing with one overwhelming thought. This was supposed to be a contract marriage, so why did it feel like he meant every word? Lily's heels clicked softly against the polished floor as Noah guided her deeper into the ballroom, past glittering chandeliers and the hum of wealthy conversation. The music swelled around them, but all she could hear was the echo of his words outside. She is my wife. A line meant to protect her. A line that was supposed to be nothing more than part of the contract. Yet it rattled inside her chest all the same. As soon as they stepped away from the spotlight, Noah released her arm. His expression returned to its composed, unreadable calm. "Are you all right?" he asked, his voice low so only she could hear. Lily nodded, though her hands still trembled. "I did not expect to be removed from the list." "You were not removed," Noah said evenly. "Someone erased your name. Intentionally." Her breath caught. Why would anyone do that? His jaw tightened the slightest bit, a small crack in his usual steel exterior. "Because some people enjoy testing boundaries, especially when they think they can embarrass me in the process." Lily did not know how to respond. She had grown up in a world where the biggest threat was an overdue bill, not sabotage wrapped in diamonds and tuxedos. A server passed with champagne, and Lily instinctively stepped aside. Noah noticed. "You do not need to shrink yourself here," he said. She met his eyes for a brief moment. There was no softness in his tone, but there was intent, a promise that he would not let her be pushed aside again. Noah gestured toward the balcony doors. "Come with me." The ballroom grew distant as they stepped outside. The night air brushed against her skin, cool and grounding. From the balcony, the city stretched below them, towers glowing against the deep sky. "You handled the situation well," Noah said after a moment. Lily gave a small, humorless laugh. "I felt like I was falling apart." "Yet you did not," he replied. "That is more than I can say for half the people in that room." She looked down at her hands. "I only came because it was required. 5 events. That was the agreement." "Yes," Noah said, studying her profile. "And you have already fulfilled the first, despite what happened outside." Lily hesitated before speaking again. "Noah, I know this is just a contract. You do not need to defend me so intensely." "I would have understood if you walked past." He turned slightly, and the balcony light outlined the sharp planes of his face. For the first time tonight, something in his eyes warmed. "I did not defend you because the contract required it," he said. "I defended you because they disrespected you." Lily's chest tightened. It was not the kind of line that belonged in a romance movie. It was something steadier, something real. She swallowed. "Thank you." He nodded once, then straightened, slipping back into the poise of a man who lived under constant scrutiny. "There is something I need to explain to you," he said, "about why you were erased from the list." Lily braced herself. "My family does not approve of this arrangement," Noah continued. "They would have preferred I married someone who benefited them. A political tie. A corporate partner. Not—" He paused, choosing his words with precision. "Not someone who stands on her own." Lily lowered her eyes. "Because I am poor." "Because you are not useful to them," he corrected. "There is a difference." The words were blunt, but they did not wound in the way she expected. Instead, something about his honesty made her shoulders loosen. "So they erased my name to embarrass you," she said quietly. "To embarrass us both," Noah replied, "and to remind me that, in their eyes, this marriage is a mistake." Lily let the truth settle. This was bigger than her dress, or her nerves, or the guarded whispers behind her back. She had stepped into a world where every move was calculated and every weakness exploited. Noah turned, offering his arm again. "Regardless of what they think, you are here, and you will stay." She looked at his arm for a moment, remembering the rules he had laid out the day they signed their contract. No attachment, no emotion, strict boundaries. Yet here he was, standing beside her on a balcony overlooking a city he practically owned, speaking to her not like a hired spouse, but like a partner. Slowly, she placed her hand on his arm. "Then, let us go back inside," she said. Noah gave a faint nod, the closest thing to approval she had ever seen from him. Together, they stepped back toward the ballroom, into a world that wanted to push her out. But tonight, she walked in on the arm of the man who had chosen to defend her. Contract or not, she could not deny one truth. This night had changed something between them, and she felt it down to her bones. The moment Lily and Noah stepped back into the ballroom, the atmosphere shifted around them. Conversations softened. Curious eyes lingered. Every guest who had whispered about her outside now stood a little straighter, suddenly unsure of where she fit in this world they believed they controlled. Noah guided her toward a quieter corner where the lighting was warm and the music softened into a gentle hum. A server approached with 2 glasses of champagne, and this time Lily did not step aside. Noah noticed, and a flicker of approval crossed his features. "You remembered," he said. "I am trying," she replied softly. Before Noah could say anything more, a woman in a silver gown approached them. Her smile was flawless in a way that felt practiced. Her voice was dipped in sugar but carried an edge, sharp enough to cut. "Noah," she greeted with familiarity, then turned her attention to Lily. "And you must be the new wife." Lily straightened subtly. "Yes, Lily Carter." The woman nodded slowly, her eyes scanning Lily from head to toe. "I am Olivia Whitmore, Noah's cousin." She lifted her brows. "You know, you caused quite a scene outside." Noah's tone hardened at once. "Olivia." She ignored the warning in his voice. "Security was nearly ready to escort you away. It must have been very confusing for you." Lily felt the sting of the words, but before she could speak, Noah stepped slightly forward. "Olivia, if you have something to say, say it to me." Olivia smiled again, that same perfect smile that never touched her eyes. "Very well. Some members of the board were surprised that your spouse was not on the list. They were only concerned about maintaining our family's image." Lily realized the accusation hidden between the lines. She was the embarrassment, the flaw, the reason the prestigious Whitmore name looked unstable. But Noah's response came quickly and without hesitation. "My marriage is not up for discussion," he said. "And neither is my wife." Olivia blinked in surprise. She had expected Lily to be dismissed quietly, not defended so openly. She offered a polite nod, gave Lily a final, unreadable glance, and drifted back into the crowd. Lily exhaled once Olivia was out of earshot. "She does not like me. She does not know you," Noah corrected. "And people fear what they cannot control." Lily looked up at him. "Does your whole family think this way?" Noah's expression tightened, then softened just slightly. "Most of them. They believe marriage is a business tool, a merger, an asset." Lily lowered her gaze. "But I am none of those things." "You are not meant to be," Noah replied. "That is why they feel threatened." For a moment, the noise of the ballroom faded. The chandeliers above them glittered like frozen stars. Lily thought of the night she signed the contract, sitting across from Noah's sharp gaze and impeccable posture. She had assumed he saw her the way his family did, convenient, temporary, replaceable. But tonight, she had witnessed something different. Noah suddenly looked toward the stage. "The auction is beginning. We should take our seats." He offered his hand again, open and steady. She hesitated for only a breath before placing her hand in his. They walked together through the ballroom, past tables blossoming with white roses, past guests who parted for them with sudden respect. Lily felt the shift. Not entirely acceptance, not yet, but no longer mockery. When they took their seats near the front, Noah leaned slightly toward her. "There will be more nights like this," he said quietly. "More pushback, more tests. But you do not face them alone." Lily turned to him, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. For the first time since signing the contract, she believed him. The auctioneer struck the gavel, and applause echoed through the hall. But Lily heard only one thing, Noah's promise lingering in the air, steady and undeniable. She was not alone. Not tonight. And maybe not ever again. The auction moved quickly, with numbers rising and paddles lifting around the room. Lily tried to focus on the stage, but her thoughts kept drifting back to Noah's words. She did not face this alone. It was strange how a sentence so simple could steady her more than the champagne she had not touched. When the auctioneer announced a short intermission, guests rose from their seats and drifted toward the bar or the dessert tables. Noah stood and offered his hand to help Lily up. His movements were measured, polite, almost formal, yet she sensed a protective intention beneath every gesture. "Stay close," he said gently. She nodded. They walked toward a quieter hallway near the back of the ballroom, passing clusters of executives who lowered their voices when Noah walked by. Most offered polite greetings, a few forced smiles. One man, tall with silver hair, stepped directly into their path. "Good evening, Noah," he said. His tone was smooth in the way oil was smooth. "I see you have brought company." Lily recognized him from headlines. Victor Hale, a major investor in Whitmore Industries. Powerful, unpredictable, and rumored to enjoy stirring trouble. Noah kept his expression neutral. "Victor." Victor's eyes shifted to Lily, lingering longer than appropriate. "And you must be the wife I have heard about." Lily kept her posture steady. "Yes. Lily Carter." Victor lifted an eyebrow. "Interesting choice." He glanced at Noah. "Some of us expected you to marry someone with stronger business ties." Lily felt the implication, but before she could respond, Noah stepped subtly closer to her, placing himself between her and Victor's scrutinizing stare. "My marriage is not a subject for negotiation," Noah said. "Not with you or anyone else." Victor chuckled softly. "Relax. I am only making an observation. A woman like her will certainly bring attention." Noah's jaw tightened. "Watch your words." Victor raised his hands as if in surrender. "Very well. Enjoy your evening." He gave Lily a final glance that made her skin prickle before disappearing back into the crowd. Lily exhaled slowly. "Do people here always speak like that?" "Only the ones who believe money gives them permission," Noah replied. He looked down at her. "Do not let him get into your head." "I am not," Lily said, though her voice trembled slightly at the edges. "It is just a lot." "It is," Noah agreed. "And you are handling it better than they expected." His reassurance settled over her like a warm coat. She did not realize how cold she had felt until that moment. They walked further down the hallway, stopping near a floor-to-ceiling window overlooking the city. The lights below flickered like restless stars across the skyline. After a quiet moment, Lily spoke. "Noah, can I ask you something?" He turned toward her. "Of course. When we signed the contract, you said this was only for appearances. That feelings would make things complicated." She paused. "Do you still believe that?" Noah looked at her for a long moment, the reflection of the city lights glinting in his eyes. "Yes," he said slowly, "feelings do make things complicated." Lily's stomach tightened. "But," he continued, "complicated does not always mean bad." Her breath caught. He rarely spoke this openly, rarely allowed even a flicker of emotion to slip through the polished facade he wore like armor. But tonight, something about the way he looked at her felt unguarded just for a moment, just enough to make her heart thud in her chest. Before she could respond, a voice called from down the hall. "Mr. Whitmore, we are about to resume." Noah straightened. "We should head back." Lily nodded, but her mind was still looping around the fragile truth he had revealed. Complicated does not always mean bad. When they returned to the ballroom, guests shifted, watching them again. But this time, Lily did not shrink. She walked with Noah toward their table, her hand resting lightly on his arm, her steps steady. She felt the change inside herself. Maybe it was pride, maybe it was courage, or maybe it was something far more dangerous, something the contract had warned her to avoid. Whatever it was, it grew stronger with every moment she spent by Noah's side. The ballroom lights dimmed as the second half of the auction began, and a hush fell over the crowd. Lily settled back into her seat beside Noah, her pulse steadying as the focus shifted away from them. Yet she could still feel the lingering tension from the hallway, the echo of Victor Hale's stare, and Noah's unspoken warning that followed. The auctioneer raised a hand, announcing the next item, a private mentorship lunch with Noah Whitmore. The room buzzed instantly. Executives leaned forward. Investors whispered excitedly, Noah's name alone was enough to ignite bidding wars. Lily watched the paddles rise one after another. She knew Noah was influential, but seeing it displayed this openly felt different. It showed just how much power he held in this world, and how exposed she was by simply standing next to him. The bidding slowed near the end, and the final paddle lifted with a triumphant flourish. Applause rippled across the room. Noah nodded politely toward the winner before settling back in his seat. Lily leaned slightly closer. "Do you do things like this often? Auctions?" Noah replied. "Several times a year. Charity events are good for the company and good for the people they help, but they are also performances." "Performances," Lily repeated. "Like us." Noah turned his head toward her, catching the quiet meaning behind her words. "Perhaps. But tonight felt less like a performance and more like a reminder. A reminder of what? That this contract affects you in ways I did not prepare you for." Lily looked down at her hands. "I knew it would be difficult. You knew it would be inconvenient," Noah corrected gently. "Not cruel." She lifted her gaze toward him. For a moment, the noise of the ballroom faded again. Noah continued, his voice lower. "I did not anticipate how my family or my colleagues would respond to you. I underestimated their willingness to cross boundaries." Lily considered his words carefully. "It is not your responsibility to control what they say. It is my responsibility to protect the person who is standing beside me," Noah said. "Contract or not." The words settled deep in Lily's chest. He said it without hesitation, without calculation. For the first time since she met him, Noah Whitmore sounded less like a corporate titan and more like a man trying to make amends. The auction ended, and guests rose to mingle once more. The soft hum of conversation filled the room as dessert trays circulated. A violin ensemble played near the center of the ballroom, drawing guests into a light waltz. A few couples drifted toward the dance floor. Lily watched them, unsure whether she missed dancing or simply envied the ease with which they fit into this world. Noah followed her gaze. "Do you dance?" Lily shook her head. "Not like this. I always wanted to, but lessons cost money I did not have." Noah paused, then extended his hand. "Come with me." Her heart skipped. "Noah, I might step on your feet. I have survived worse." She stared at his hand, surprised by the faint smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Then she placed her hand in his, allowing him to lead her toward the edge of the dance floor. The music was slow, elegant, sweeping. Noah guided her hand to his shoulder and placed his on her waist. The movement startled her slightly, but his touch was steady, anchoring. "Just follow my lead," he murmured. At first, Lily hesitated, her steps stiff, uncertain, but Noah's rhythm was solid and patient. Within moments, she found herself matching his movements. The room blurred around them as they turned gently across the floor. "You are doing well," Noah said. "You are making it easy," Lily replied. He held her gaze for a breath longer than necessary, something unspoken passing between them. When the music shifted into a softer note, Noah drew her just a little closer. Not enough to break the rules of appearance, but enough to make her heart flutter in a way that had nothing to do with obligation. For the first time since signing the contract, Lily felt like they were not pretending. She felt something real forming beneath the surface, fragile and warm and dangerous. And as the last notes of the song faded, she realized she was no longer afraid of it. The final notes of the violin faded into a gentle hush, and Noah slowly released Lily's hand. His touch lingered for a heartbeat longer than necessary before he stepped back, restoring the polite distance required of them in public. Lily tried to steady her breath as the dancers around them applauded the ensemble. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You did well," Noah replied. "Better than I expected." She smiled softly, but before she could speak again, the lights in the ballroom flickered. The sudden dimming brought a wave of murmurs. A heartbeat later, a spotlight flared to life at the front of the room. The event coordinator stepped onto the stage, holding a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude the evening, Whitmore Industries would like to honor a member of the Whitmore family who has demonstrated extraordinary leadership this year. Please welcome Olivia Whitmore. Lily felt Noah stiffen beside her. Olivia glided onto the stage, her silver dress shimmering under the lights. She accepted the microphone with perfect poise. "Thank you," Olivia said, her voice bright and polished. "As many of you know, the Whitmore name means tradition, excellence, and legacy. And tonight, I want to speak about something very personal to our family." Noah's jaw tightened. "This is not on the schedule," he muttered. Lily sensed the tension building. Olivia continued. "Our family has always believed that the strength of Whitmore Industries comes from choosing the right alliances, the right partnerships, the right relationships." A few murmurs rippled across the room. Lily felt her stomach twist. Olivia smiled, the expression sharp. And sometimes, when decisions are made hastily, the consequences affect not only the family, but the entire company. Noah took a step forward, but Lily gently touched his arm. "Noah, do not go up there." He stopped, but his eyes never left the stage. Olivia's gaze swept across the crowd before landing directly on Lily. "Tonight, we were forced to address an unfortunate incident at the entrance. A misunderstanding, of course, but one that reflects how important it is to maintain integrity within our circle." Lily felt heat prick behind her eyes. The ballroom felt suddenly too large, too bright, too focused on her. Olivia's smile widened. "It is crucial for us to remember that Whitmore Industries must be represented by individuals who embody professionalism, poise, and suitability." Noah stepped forward again. "This ends now." He moved toward the front of the ballroom, but the coordinator gently blocked his path, whispering urgently. Noah ignored him and kept walking. The guests parted for him like water splitting around a stone. Olivia continued speaking, now emboldened. "And so, while personal choices are respected, it is important to question whether those choices truly reflect the Whitmore standard." Noah reached the edge of the stage. His voice cut through the ballroom with absolute authority. "That is enough." The microphone screeched slightly as Olivia froze. Her perfect posture faltered for the first time that evening. Noah ascended the steps with a controlled calm that sent a ripple through the room. The moment he took the microphone from Olivia's hand, the ballroom fell silent. He looked out across the crowd, his expression steady. "My marriage is not a matter for public commentary, and it certainly is not a tool for anyone to manipulate for personal gain." A stir of whispers circled the room. Noah continued, "Lily Carter is my wife. She stands with me because I chose her, and she chose me. Any attempt to humiliate her is an attempt to humiliate me." Lily felt her breath catch. Noah lifted his chin slightly. "If anyone here believes she does not belong, then they may reconsider their place at events hosted by this family and this company." Olivia's face paled, but Noah did not look at her again. He stepped away from the microphone, leaving behind a stunned and silent ballroom. He walked straight toward Lily, never breaking eye contact. When he reached her, he extended his hand. "Let us leave," he said. Lily placed her hand in his without hesitation. As they walked out of the ballroom together, guests parted again. But this time there were no whispers of ridicule, only shock, awe, and the dawning understanding that Noah Whitmore did not tolerate anyone who threatened the woman at his side. The cold night air greeted them as the hotel doors closed behind them. For a moment, neither spoke. Finally, Lily said softly, "You did not have to defend me like that." Noah turned to her, the city lights reflecting in his eyes. "Yes, I did." He stepped closer, his voice low and steady. "Because tonight, they did not see you clearly. But I did." Lily felt her heart stutter. His next words were even quieter. "And what I saw was someone worth standing beside." The city hummed around them, but for Lily, the world felt completely still. The cold night lingered around them as they stood beneath the hotel's glowing awning. A line of black cars waited along the curb, engines humming softly in the background. Noah signaled to his driver, but before the car could approach, Lily gently pulled her hand away from his. "Noah, wait!" He turned toward her instantly. concern shifting across his features. The city lights painted soft shadows along his jaw, making him appear both powerful and human in a way Lily had never seen before. "What is it?" he asked. Lily wrapped her arms around herself, not from the cold, but from the weight of everything that had just happened. Tonight was intense. What Olivia said, the way everyone looked at me, and then you going on stage, I would do it again, Noah said firmly. Every single time. That is what scares me, Lily admitted. For the first time that evening, Noah seemed taken aback. Why? Because this was supposed to be simple, she said. Her voice trembled despite her best effort to contain it. A contract, 5 events, a year of pretending, nothing more. Noah's expression shifted, something unreadable flickering behind his eyes. But tonight, Lily continued, it felt like something else, something dangerous, something real, and I do not know what to do with that. The sound of city traffic filled the silence between them. Finally, Noah spoke, his voice lower and more careful than before. Lily, I will not apologize for protecting you. I am not asking you to, she said. I am asking you to be honest with me. Noah looked away briefly, as if wrestling with something he had kept buried for too long. Honesty complicates things. You told me earlier that complicated does not always mean bad, Lily reminded him. He inhaled sharply at her words. You are right. I did say that. A gust of wind swept across the pavement, rustling the hem of Lily's dress. She looked up at him, waiting, hoping he would continue. Instead, he stepped back, creating space between them for the first time since the night began. I need you to understand something, Noah said quietly. I went on that stage because you were being attacked, not because of the contract, not because of appearances, but because what Olivia did was wrong. Lily held his gaze. And what about us? Noah's throat tightened. Us is what complicates everything. She stepped closer, unable to stop herself. Noah, I need the truth. If we keep pretending nothing has changed, both of us are going to get hurt. He opened his mouth to speak, but headlights flashed across the driveway as the black sedan pulled to the curb. The driver stepped out and opened the door. Noah looked at the car, then at her. His eyes held a storm of emotion, restraint, frustration, longing, and something he refused to name. This is not the place for this conversation, he said softly. Lily swallowed, her heart dropping slightly. Then when? A beat of silence passed before he answered. When I can figure out whether telling you the truth will ruin everything or save it. The words struck her harder than any insult Olivia had thrown earlier. They were raw and uncertain, more vulnerable than anything he had ever allowed himself to say. Noah stepped aside, gesturing for her to enter the car. Please, he said, almost a whisper. Let me take you home. Lily hesitated, her chest tightening with the weight of unspoken emotions. But she nodded eventually and slipped inside the car. Noah circled to the other side and sat beside her. The doors closed, sealing them in silence. The city blurred past the windows as they drove, both staring forward yet acutely aware of the space between them. A space charged with everything they had said and everything they were afraid to say. By the time the car slowed in front of the Whitmore estate, Lily felt more conflicted than ever. The gates opened, the mansion lights glowed, and everything looked exactly as it always had, but nothing felt the same. Not anymore. The car rolled to a smooth stop in front of the Whitmore estate, its stone columns glowing beneath the soft exterior lights. Lily stepped out first, her heels touching the gravel path as the cold air wrapped around her. Noah walked beside her, silent, his expression unreadable, though the weight of everything between them hung heavily in the space they shared. Inside, the house was quiet. Too quiet. The soft click of the door closing echoed through the foyer. Lily moved toward the staircase, expecting Noah to retreat to his office like he usually did after difficult nights. But instead, he spoke. Lily. She stopped at the first step and turned back toward him. Noah stood near the center of the foyer, hands at his sides, shoulders tense, as if holding up an invisible burden. For a moment, He looked less like a chief executive officer and more like a man trying to figure out how to say something that mattered. "I owe you something," he said. Her breath lifted. "You do not owe me anything." "Yes," Noah said. "I do. Tonight should not have unfolded the way it did. My family crossed a line. My company allowed it. And I put you in a situation you should never have faced." Lily shook her head slowly. "You defended me. That mattered." "It was not enough," Noah replied. "Not nearly enough." He walked toward a small table in the foyer and picked up a thick envelope sealed with his family crest. He held it out to her. "This arrived earlier today," he said. "From my mother and the board. Before the gala." Lily hesitated before taking it. The envelope felt heavy, both in weight and in implication. She opened it carefully. Inside was a formal notice from the Whitmore board, thinly disguised as a recommendation. But the message was unmistakable. They wanted the marriage annulled. Immediately, Lily looked up, shocked. "They sent this before tonight? They wanted to remove me even before I arrived?" "They have wanted it since the contract was signed," Noah said. "Tonight was their attempt to push me into compliance." Lily felt a hollow ache settle in her chest. "What are you going to do?" Noah stepped closer. "I already did it. I rejected their recommendation. Officially. Publicly." Lily stared at him. "Noah, that puts you at risk with the board." "I know. And your company, I know," he repeated softly. "But I will not let them humiliate you again, and I will not let them decide my life for me." His voice carried a conviction she had never heard from him before. It was not cold authority. It was not corporate strategy. It was deeply human. Lily lowered the letter, her fingers trembling slightly. "Why would you do that for me?" Noah held her gaze, and the truth came through slowly, carefully, as if it had been waiting for the right moment to emerge. "Because somewhere along the line," he said, "this stopped being about a contract." Her heart stilled. Noah took another step closer. "I thought I could keep things simple. I thought we could treat this as an arrangement. But tonight, when they went after you, I realized something." "What?" Lily whispered. "That you are not an inconvenience," he said. "You are not a mistake, and you are not temporary." Emotion tightened Lily's throat. "Noah," he exhaled, the tension in his shoulders finally breaking. "I do not know what this is yet. I do not want to rush it. But I know I want to choose you. Not because the contract demands it, not because the board disapproves, but because tonight I would rather lose everything than lose my integrity or lose you." The words were quiet but powerful enough to fill the room. Lily stepped closer, her voice unsteady. "What are we supposed to do now?" Noah extended his hand, not as a corporate gesture, not as part of their performance, but with a sincerity that reached her deeply. "We start over," he said. "Honestly, as equals." Lily looked at his hand for a long moment, not as part of a contract, not as an obligation, but as a choice. Her choice. Slowly, she placed her hand in his. Noah's expression softened, not the cold, guarded look he showed the world, but something warm, real, and unmasked. "Then let us start," Lily said. The mansion was quiet, the world outside still turning. But inside, something profound had shifted between them, something no contract could define, and no board could erase. For the first time, Lily did not feel like a guest in Noah's world. She felt like she finally belonged. The foyer felt different now, as if the air itself had shifted. Noah's hand was still holding Lily's, steady and certain. For the first time since their arrangement began, she did not feel like she was standing across from a man she agreed to pretend with. She felt like she was standing beside someone willing to fight for her, even when it cost him. He gently guided her toward the living room, where the soft glow of a fireplace cast warm light across the space. The room felt quieter than usual, almost intimate. Lily took a seat on the edge of the couch, while Noah remained standing for a moment, gathering himself, as if what he wanted to say next mattered too much to rush. Finally, he sat beside her. "Lily," he began, "I cannot promise that everything will suddenly be easy. My family will continue pushing. The board will not stay silent. But I can promise that I will not let them decide the direction of my life anymore. Lily listened, her hands folded carefully in her lap. You stood up for me tonight. Not just to Olivia, but to your entire world. I do not think I ever imagined someone would do that for me. You deserved it, Noah said. You always did. Her chest tightened as she looked at him. I am still scared. I do not want to be the reason your family turns against you. My family's expectations were never going to define me forever, Noah replied. Maybe tonight was overdue. He leaned back slightly, exhaling as though releasing years of silent pressure. For so long, I believed that choosing someone who made sense on paper was the only way to keep the company stable. But the truth is, none of those choices would have made me happy. They would have made other people comfortable, not me. Lily's voice softened. And me? You remind me what it feels like to be human, Noah said simply. Not a position, not a figurehead, a person. The honesty in his words washed over her like a warm tide. She had spent so much of her life trying not to be a burden on anyone, and now this man, this impossibly guarded, powerful man, was telling her she made his world feel real. Lily swallowed, her voice a whisper. I never expected this. I just wanted to survive the year, fulfill the agreement, and leave quietly when it was over. I know, Noah said, but that ending does not make sense anymore. She looked at him, truly looked at him, and saw something in his eyes she had never seen before. Hope, quiet and careful, but unmistakably there. Noah reached into his pocket and pulled out something small. A ring. Not the plain band they had used for the contract, but another one entirely. The diamond was modest compared to what his world could afford, but elegant, beautiful, chosen with intention. Lily's breath hitched. Noah. He held the ring in his palm. This is not a proposal. Not yet. I do not want to rush you. But I wanted you to have something that represents us starting over. Something real. Something that does not belong to a contract. Her eyes shimmered. You can wear it, he continued, or you can keep it. Either way, it is yours. Not because we agreed to anything, but because I want you to have it. Lily reached out with trembling fingers, taking the ring gently from his hand. The metal felt warm, almost alive. She closed her hand around it, pressing it softly against her chest. Noah, she said, her voice breaking in the most honest way, I want to see where this goes, not as your obligation, not as your contract wife, but as myself. A slow, genuine smile touched Noah's lips, the kind that softened his entire face, the kind she had never seen until this moment. Then we take it one step at a time, he said. Lily nodded, her heart full in a way she could barely understand. One step at a time. He lifted her hand between both of his, warm and steady. They stayed like that for a long moment, saying nothing, letting the quiet truth settle between them. Tonight, the contract ended, but something far more real had begun. As the fire crackled softly beside them, Lily realized she was no longer afraid. She was exactly where she was meant to be, standing beside the man who chose her, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. And for the first time in her life, that was enough.